Section 2.5, graphing parallel and perpendicular lines. Okay? Parallel lines have the same slope. We should all remember that from geometry. Perpendicular lines have the opposite reciprocal slope. Opposite reciprocal is flipping the fraction, adding a negative sign. So if I had negative 1/2, the opposite reciprocal is first you flip it, then you add a negative. So if the slope was negative 3/4, and I wanted the opposite reciprocal, first I flip it, then I add a negative. Two negatives become positive. Okay? That's why it's called, it goes either way. I'll write this into, because some of you may have heard me say it that way. That's usually the way I say it, is a negative reciprocal. Any questions on those? Perfect. Okay. An example, a test question would be find the slope of a line parallel to 5y minus 2x equals 7. Okay, I worked the first one out for you. First, you take the original equation and you solve for y. So basically, I took this equation, I added 2, divided by 5, and this is, what form is this? Point slope or slope intercept? This is slope intercept form, okay? So, I know that if I have a new line, by definition parallel lines have the same slope, the slope of the new line has to be the same. Okay? So I know the slope of the new line would be 2/5 x. I don't know anything else. But I know that this line is parallel to this line, so they have to have the same slope. Now, if I were to change the wording up here and I crossed out parallel and I put in perpendicular, okay, I don't want the equation of the line, I just want to know what the slope is. I want a slope of a line that is parallel or perpendicular to this line. Instead of 2/5, it would be negative 5/2, okay? Does that make sense to everyone out there in the math viewing area? Okay? Good? Okay. Okay. There's a second type of test question I can give you. I could give you, find the equation of a line through 2 points, and it's parallel to that. Remember the last quiz you just took, we had find the equation of a line that was through 2 points. Now it's through this point and parallel to that. So again, the first thing you do is you take this equation and you solve. Okay, and I'll even graph this for you. Up to, okay, this is this. Okay, I don't think we need to worry about that. You should all know how to do that. So now I need a new line. I'm going to put a new line on this graph that's parallel to this. Okay, so right about there. Everyone see I just took this down here? Okay, so this is the equation. Now I brought in my x and y's. Remember, I got those from right here. Oops. So then I plug them in. Wow, don't do this with a pen in your hand. This was 4, negative 5. Plug them in. I'm a little concerned though. Okay. So I multiplied, I get 8/3. What?
Good question.
Oh.
It looks like you wrote a question, but not.
Sorry. What happened to spell check on that one? Let me down.
Maybe it's hard.
So I simplified it. I just took 4 times 2/3, got 8/3. I have to subtract an 8/3, and I get this one. So that would be the equation of a new line parallel to this one. All I did was I take the first equation, solved for y, I got my slope. They're the same slope because they're parallel lines. I plug my points in for x and y, and I solve for b. Okay? That would be a fun one to graph. That would be what? 11 and 2/3? Well, let's figure out how I'm going to graph this one. So that's going to be, oh, where did I get 11 from? Wow. How about 7 and 2/3? So I'd have to go down to 7. 1, 2, 3, 7 and 2/3. Up 2 over 3. And that would be my line. I'll give you one to do yourself here in a moment. Okay? There you go. You do that one. Find the equation of a line through those 2 points perpendicular to this one. Well, the first thing I would do is solve this for y. It's already done. I'm going to write it down anyways. Y equals negative 3/5 x plus 5. Okay, that's my old line. Now I need a new one. I know it's going to be in slope-intercept form. Okay, I know my slope is going to be what?
5 over 3.
It's going to be 5 over 3. Because perpendicular lines have the negative reciprocal or opposite reciprocal, which means I flip it first and I add a negative. So it's 5/3. So I know that. Well, now I need to have I need to find b. So I'm going to use these points, x and y. So my y is negative 9. My x is 6. So those of you who had a fraction out there, I'm not sure what you did wrong. 3 goes into there 2 times. Negative 9 equals 10 plus b. I subtract 10. I subtract 10. Negative 19 equals b. So then I write it all together. 5/3 x minus 19.
Is that how you want it on the test?
How many people had that? There you go. Here's another third test question I could give you. This one you don't even need a pencil for if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing.
First you got to figure out the slope of your old line, and then you have to do the negative reciprocal of it. When in doubt, if you don't know what you're going to do, let's graph it. What kind of line is perpendicular to a vertical line? A horizontal line. So I know my line's going to be horizontal. Horizontal line equations are always in the form of what? Y equals, well, what's my y value? There you go. You would definitely see one of those again. And I'm going to give you a couple more because I don't think you're at where I'd like you to be on these. So
Can you go back?
I will in a minute. I want you to find the slope of a line that goes through that point and is parallel to 3x minus y equals 9. Okay, here we go again. I want an equation of a line that goes through this point and is parallel to that. Well, the first thing over here, I'm going to put this into slope-intercept form. Now, I cannot have a negative y there, so I'm going to multiply everything by a negative, which means I'm just changing the sign. That's all I'm doing. So, my old line is right here. Now, I need a new line in this form. Well, I know what my slope is going to be. 3. It has to be 3 because the lines are parallel. If it was perpendicular, it would be negative 1/3 if anyone had that. Okay? So now I'm going to use these points to figure out the equation of my new line. Remember, x goes here and y goes there. So I have 3 equals 3 times 1 plus b. 3 equals 3 plus b. Cool. B is equal to 0. That means that line goes through the origin, right? So y equals 3x would be the equation of the line.